Hi everyone. I thought we'd do just a check-up today, just to find out a little bit about where we are in relation to the federal election here in Australia. Now, at the moment, we have a couple more weeks to go, which is damn exciting because it's been a lackluster event, to say the least. There hasn't been much happening at all. Each party has been having a go at the other, minor parties having a go at the two major parties, and quite frankly, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. But what is interesting is the way Peter Dutton has behaved. Now, I've never been a fan of Peter, never will be a fan of Peter, but it is interesting to note that as it's progressed, it seems to me that Peter Dutton has decided that he's just going to dig as deep a hole as he can for himself, and he's got off to a really, really bad start. So his his so it's been described by Nicky Savva in this way, and I think it's a really interesting way to describe him. And this is in the Sydney Morning Herald. That is like a man doing high-speed donuts in one of those monster utes, hoping the smoke from the burnouts will cover the wreckage left behind at his last stop. And it's interesting to note that there's a number of things that he's sort of done and then undone and then done again and then undone. And it's given this sense, I guess, that he really doesn't have a distinct purpose. He doesn't have a distinct focus. So first he was against working from home. Then, of course, after he realised that that wasn't too popular, he wasn't. And then he wanted a series of referendums. And then he didn't. First, he was gushing pro-Trump. Then he wasn't pro-Trump because he began to realise that Trump was toxic here in Australia. And there was this thing about, I guess, Trump expressing contemptuous delight in having world leaders line up to kick his ass. And Dutton decided to join in that tone. He boasted that he'd be able to secure a better deal with the US president on tariffs. And of course he didn't, and he wasn't able to do that. Never was. No one was. And then on top of that, along came Jacinta Nampijira Price, who Button appointed as the Opposition Indigenous Affairs Minister in 2023 to destroy the voice referendum. Price, a relatively good speaker, I suppose, gave what white Australians permission in that referendum to vote no. Now, Nicky Savva says deploying those same skills without even realising it and without a functioning political radar to sense the dangers, Price on Saturday parroted Trump's slogan again, promising the coalition would make Australia great again. Now, when is it that they're going to start to realise that parroting Trump stuff is not going to win any votes? In fact, they're going to lose votes by doing so. And so it becomes important to understand that there are these key moments in the campaign when they say things that eventually wind up biting them in the arse. So, in a sense, Price, as Nicky would say, drove a nail into Dutton's coffin. And so it continues. So the whole mess that is the Liberal Party has come to the fore almost on a daily basis. So one of the issues that has arisen more recently, I guess, has been, well, it's in the last day or so, has been Russia's endeavouring to, or so it was worded, so it was rumoured, that Russia were planning to negotiate with Indonesia to have a base in Indonesia, or to be able to fly their planes in and out from Indonesia. And naturally, this is quite a concern to Australia. Australia is concerned enough about China parading around our borders, let alone having someone like Russia have a base in one of our neighbouring countries, and the most populous of the neighbouring countries that we have. And so what happened was, apparently, the rumour was spread, and Dutton decided that this meant that this was an opportunity for him to attack Labor, and particularly Albanese. Now, the government had made their efforts to be able to contact the Indonesian government, find out from them whether or not any of what had been said was true. They were told that it wasn't. Yet that didn't stop, or it seemed to stop, Peter Dutton from saying the things that he needed to say, or what he believed he needed to say, in order to stick the dagger into Albanese by saying that, if this has happened under his watch, it would never have happened at all, which is sort of a Trumpist thing. And that he needs to make sure, or Albanese needs to be better informed than what he is. So it's an amazing circumstance, but the reality is that Dutton not only keeps tripping over himself, in this instance, he continues the lie about what actually is happening. He manifests disinformation, and that as a result of that, he's building a momentum for a faltering campaign. Yet, instead of stepping gently around the latest self-inflicting disasters, as I've outlined, he leaned in, interjecting at a press conference to urge journalists to keep asking, that particular instance, Jacinda Price further questions. Now, the next day, Dutton unveiled billions in spending, which risked being branded as too much, too late. And so this is the other part of the campaign that kind of becomes a wee bit annoying, is that every day someone's tossing some money at the electorate. And I guess all people want at this particular point is a sense that there's a government who are working and acting for them. This is important. But they're not. They're not. They believe, I think, that just tossing as much money as they can in our direction is going to make us feel better. But it isn't until such time as our grocery prices decrease, our rents stabilise, our mortgages have some form of relief as well. There needs to be so much happening that actually is about immediately affecting and impacting our hip pockets. I appreciate that the Labor Party want to do something about student debt and student loans. I understand that. With kids with those sorts of loans myself, I appreciate that any reduction for them would be helpful. We need to build more homes, but we need to see those homes built, not just rhetoric relating to how we're going to go about building those homes. We can talk about, and the Labor Party do this, and I'm a bit tired of it. We talk about how there's been decades of neglect. Well, okay, maybe there has, but that's not our current problem. That's not your current problem. The current problem is that you need to have relief immediately, and even though credit to the Labor government for ensuring that at least some relief has been offered in terms of energy bills, in terms of childcare and other efforts that they've made, Medicare and others. So there have been those efforts made. The question really is, I guess, are they enough? Are they significant enough, any of those particular changes? And I guess time will tell. In 2.5 weeks, we're going to find out. At the moment, the Labour Party, are heading ahead, edging ahead in terms of the vote. And it's likely now that we might get another Labour Party with, and not necessarily have to rely on independents and the Greens. I don't necessarily see that as a good thing. Maybe we need to have a combination of Labor, Greens and the Teals in order to balance the government a little bit better and to give the government a kick up the arse so that they can ensure that they're looking after our needs rather than just their own and paying lip service to what it is that we believe should be happening. So let me know what you think in the section below. Comment on my videos wherever you can. Love to hear from you. Subscribe. After all, it doesn't cost you anything. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.